One of the most problematic combinations is a narcissist with a people pleaser because they are a match made in hell. They feed into each other. The narcissist believes that the world revolves around them. They see other people in terms of their utility to them. They view others as tools to be used for their fulfillment. Whereas you have the people pleaser who believes that their needs are a burden, that their needs are not important, and that they need to earn love. They need to earn acceptance. And so they submit themselves to others, completely neglecting their own needs and their own feelings. So you can see why this match is so toxic. Being with a narcissist is going to drain the people pleaser because the people pleaser will just continue chasing this carrot, believing that if I work harder and I try more, maybe the narcissist will see me and maybe I'll get my needs met. And it just never comes because the narcissist is incapable. They view other people as tools. They don't have the capacity to see others as autonomous human beings with their own needs, with their own feelings. They don't care, right? They care only about themselves. So I want to talk about the characteristics of a people pleaser so that if you have some of these tendencies, you can recognize them in yourself, because it is a very dangerous thing to be a people pleaser. Us people pleasers, I was a people pleaser. I went through all of this stuff that I'm about to talk to you guys today about. I believed that I needed to be perfect. My needs were not important. Put them on the sideline. And I just needed to figure out what everyone else needed from me so that I can fulfill their needs in hopes of getting acceptance. This is the idea that we get from childhood. This is the faulty programming that I got as a kid, that my needs are a burden, right? And we get that through our interactions with our parents. When your parents are consistently reacting negatively to you expressing your needs or whatever it may be along those lines, you get the message that my needs are a burden. My needs are not important. And then you start to hyper focus on everyone else's needs because that's your only way of getting your needs met. Or at least you believe so. Because when I do things for others, I get some accolade, I get some attention, I get something, right? Even though it's breadcrumbs, we're not really getting our needs met. But when we're kids, that little breadcrumbing is better than nothing, which is why we fall into this people-pleasing cycle that is very bad for us. So one of the things that people pleasers do is that they take responsibility for other people's lives. So they believe that other people's problems, other people's everything, right? Anything that's going wrong in someone else's life is their responsibility, and that they need to take that on and help the person with it. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to help people. That's a great thing. However, when you're helping people to the detriment of yourself, that's when you need to take a break. You need to pause and say, what am I doing here, right? Because your needs are important too. Even though you've been faulty programmed to believe the contrary, your needs are important, and you deserve to check in with yourself to see if you're overstretching yourself, if you're taking on more than you can handle. Because a lot of people pleasers, we get burned out. We get burned out because we keep doing things for other people that are not even invested in themselves. So in other words, we invest more time and energy into the outcome of their lives than they do. So we're actually enabling them to continue to not take responsibility for their lives. So it's not a good thing. And that's why we feel burnt out, because you can't do something for someone. You can support someone, you can be there for someone, but you can't make the needle move unless they're willing to do the work to make that needle move. So that's why it's such a burnout and exhausting thing to do, to take responsibility for others' lives. It's just not our responsibility to take. Another thing that people pleasers do is they try to save people from the discomfort that they created. What do I mean by that? When you're around a narcissistic person, you're around someone who's toxic, who doesn't have a social filter of what's right and what's wrong and what's hurtful and what's okay to say to people, we tend to want to save the day, to not make the other person feel uncomfortable for what they said, which is not our responsibility. And why would we want to do that to begin with? Again, enabling us people pleasers without even realizing it, because of our high empathy, because of our high attunement to other people, enable toxicity. We do. Because when someone does something or says something inappropriate, we kind of try to like play it off as like, oh, haha, or like, just like, oh, sweep it under the rug. Like that didn't just happen. And to try to kind of alleviate the discomfort that we're feeling and maybe the other people are feeling around us, to save that person from the discomfort that they caused. Because the reality is, people who are mean, are rude, they don't feel uncomfortable being mean and rude. It actually makes them feel good to hurt other people and to feel above others. So other people's reactivity to them is a dopamine hit. They love that, right? So when we're trying to kind of like mitigate the situation when someone says something rude to us, we are enabling them, because we do not send the message that what they said is inappropriate and weird and shouldn't be said. We send the message that, oh yeah, haha, I'm just gonna play along with it, take it on, take the hit, absorb it. No. So to put this into context, when someone says something rude to you, like, oh my God, it takes you so long to do that. Why does it take you so long? You don't have to react, because this is the people pleaser way of reacting, right? Oh yeah, no, because I like to take my time to make sure that it's right. And you start defending and Don't fall into that trap. You look at them and you say, that's an odd thing to say. Did you mean to be hurtful by saying that? Put them on the spot. Make them feel uncomfortable, because they don't feel uncomfortable judging you, criticizing you, being mean to you. So why should you try to save them for the discomfort and validate them and because that's what you do. When we defend ourselves, when we explain ourselves to the narcissist, to the toxic person, we are validating them. That's what we're doing. We're falling right into their little trap. That's why they make the disparaging remarks. That's why they act grandiose and haughty and all that stuff. It's to get that reaction. So in order for us not to continue enabling that in them, make them put them on the spot, just like they're trying to put you on the spot. Flip it, push it back in their face. That's not for you to absorb. You don't need to absorb that energy. You don't need to take it on. You just flip it around and push it right back to them by saying statements like that put the focus back on them for why they said that thing. And that's kind of weird that they think it's okay to say those things, because it is. Another thing that people pleasers tend to fall into is being unofficial life coaches or therapists, okay? They tend to take on the role of being the helper, the problem solver. They want to be there for everyone because, again, this goes back to them believing that their worth is tied to what they can do for others, because their feelings and their needs are a burden. Remember, they don't believe that their feelings are important. So they find their identity in being there for other people, for sacrificing themselves, sacrificing their time to help others. And then we wonder why we feel burnt out and exhausted, because we are sacrificing ourselves for others. Of course, you're going to feel burnt out and exhausted. If we took a fraction of that energy that we're using, taking on the problems of other people, and we invested it back into ourselves, into our own self-development, our own trauma work, our own self-love work, we would be way better off, because your identity is not doing things for everybody else. It's just not. That's not what you were put on this earth for. To just be a vessel for everyone else to dump their problems on and all of their traumas and their crap. Don't get me wrong. Again, doing things for others, being altruistic can bring us a lot of joy. It can feel really good to do that. However, you will hit a wall if that is all you're doing and you're not putting in sufficient energy into your own needs. There needs to be boundaries. There needs to be a balance. You need to check in with yourself to say, ask yourself, is this something that I really want to do because I want to do it? Or am I doing this because I feel like I have to? Like it's my responsibility? Because other people's problems are not your responsibility. It's their responsibility. And even if you take on their problems and make it your responsibility, that will not be enough to solve the problems without the person who is rightly responsible for their problems taking on the responsibility. I know that was a really roundabout way of saying it, but the point is, you can't, even if you wanted to, take on other people's problems and solve it for them. You can't. We don't have that power. They only have that. We all own our issues. We have to. Because because that's the only way they're going to be resolved. So it's really important to set boundaries and recognize what you're taking on, what you're willing to take on, what you're not willing to take on, and when it's starting to feel overwhelming. Another sign of people pleasing is that we're afraid of setting boundaries out of fear that we will be disliked or rejected. This is a huge motivator for people pleasers to continue sacrificing themselves and people pleasing because they want to be accepted and they believe that's the only way they can be. And here's the reality of the situation. That mentality is going to attract narcissistic people who are self-absorbed, who only care about themselves because they see that need in you to be accepted and liked, and they will capitalize off of it. They will drain you of your resources and leave you with nothing to show for it. So here's the thing. If someone is not going to like you because you prioritize yourself, you check in with yourself and set boundaries of what's okay and what's not okay, what feels right, what doesn't feel right. If someone's going to reject you for that, that is not someone that you want in your life. Because of course, narcissists are not going to like you when you start prioritizing yourself. They believe that they're the center of the universe. They need you to submit yourself to them at all times to feel worthy, right? So if you're taking it back, you are pulling away your energy from them and you're investing that energy into yourself more. They are damn sure not going to like that. They will be upset with you. And you know what? Let them be upset with you. What kind of people do you want in your life? You have to ask yourself. You want people that match your energy, people that actually genuinely care about you, or you want people who view you as a tool to be used? Because the people who view you as a tool to be used will not honor your needs, will not respect your feelings, will not care about you. They will see you as, again, a tool to get their needs met. No more, no less. So it's up to us to protect ourselves from these energy vampires, because let me tell you, they smell people pleasers from a mile away, and that is their prime target. Your empathy, your ability to care about others is a precious thing that you need to guard from bloodsuckers, okay? Because this is the reality. Relationships are not earned. Relationships are something that are built. You don't earn someone's love. You don't earn someone's acceptance. It's something that you build. You build it with someone who's capable of meeting you halfway. A relationship is a two-way street. It's not you going the full mile and then, laying back in the canopy, drinking a pina colada. That's not a relationship. You both need to put in energy for it to be a relationship that is worth your time. A relationship is something that's built on mutual respect, on mutual understanding, on trust, on being vulnerable with one another equally. So if you find yourself just being someone's therapist, being someone's sounding board, or being someone's slave, like them expecting you to just show up and do whatever they want at all times, or else they're going to get mad at you, you, my dear, are with someone who is very toxic. And that's not someone you need in your life. And think about it when you're thinking about these people who are energy vampires, who comes to mind? And think about it. Think about what you're getting out of these relationships. Do you feel like you're getting anything out of them? Because let me tell you, your needs are important too. Your needs are important too. And you deserve to get just as much out of a relationship that you put in, okay? You deserve to get out just as much as you put in. But instead, people pleasers, we tend to be in relationships with people who are breadcrumbers, with narcissists who give us just enough to keep us chasing that carrot, to keep us believing that maybe if we do more, we're going to get acceptance, we're going to get love, we're going to get whatever that we're looking for in that relationship. And it just never comes because they don't have it to give. It's not that you're not doing enough. It's that they don't have the capacity to give you what you need. And sometimes it can be scary for us to let go of that relationship because we feel like we've invested so much of our energy and resources. But think of it this way. If you cut your losses now, at least you now have all of that energy back, all of that energy and more that you would have invested to invest in other relationships, to invest in yourself, right? To give yourself that chance to make use of your energy in a better way versus investing more and more and more into this failing stock that is never going to give you a return on investment, because that's what it means to continue investing your energy into a narcissist. It is a failing stock. It is never going to take off. You're never going to get an ROI. That's something that's really hard to come to terms with. But the sooner you come to terms with it, the better it is for you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for allowing me to be on this healing journey with you. I'll see you in the next one.